We are GROUP9 and let me introduce myself. I'm Sally and this is my group members, Sonia, Alicia, and Tiffany. And our participant will talk about the history of the religion. And first of all, let me show you a video.
Experience taught Stone Age people the difference between what poisoned them and what satisfied their hunger. Their minds gathered empirical realities necessary for survival. They did the best they could in drawing conclusions about the world beyond them. They assumed that they were at the center of the universe, which they saw as flat, small, and under the sky. They called themselves the people, and thought that strangers were creatures of another sort, less human than they. They believed that if they ate the flesh of a strong beast, they might acquire its spirit. Or if they ate a portion of the body of a leader who had died, they might acquire his special qualities. They assumed that the sun and moon they saw moving across the sky were animate beings. A face of a dead person they knew and recognized in the peculiar shapes on the face of a rock was associated with the living spirit of that person dwelling within that rock. With no defined difference between spirit and materiality, they believed that in preserving a corpse, they were also helping to preserve the spirit of one who had died. They believed that a body went limp at death because the spirit that had been within it had left it for the invisible world of the spirits. They felt no urge to meld these ideas of spirits and materiality into a consistent picture. People correctly associated their own movement with their will, and they believed that all movement was the product of will. They saw insects as moving by will. They assumed that plants grew because of a will within. They saw the sun, moon, and stars as closer than they really were, and as moving by will. For Stone Age people, will was spirit, and they saw the world as filled with many spirits, or to use another word, gods. They saw gods within everything that moved. There was a god within the wind and another god within the rivers. A god in the ocean made the waters rush to the beach and then retreat. The sun was a god. They saw their reflection in water and believed that what they were seeing was their spirit. People attributed much that happened to the spirits and to magic. Lightning, thunder, rain, the tides, procreation, and fire were all magic. And fire was not only a product of magic, it was a manifestation of spirit. Their view of the world came to them with invented stories. These were stories that were told and accepted without recognition of a difference between fact and fantasy. Every society had its stories about creation, each with a different twist. Storytelling described their world in a way that they could understand. There were stories of a god having created them out of earth, and a story among others that they had been created from the bark of a tree. An occasional exception to universal order might be described as the work of a demon spirit, an evil of sorts. There were stories about evil and dread, a story with a threatening demon of some sort producing more excitement than one without danger. People believed that if the gods could perform magic, so too could they. The earliest form of religious ritual was an attempt at magic through imitation, such as painting a face on the belly of a pregnant woman in hope that the magic of the drawing would encourage birth. Hunter-gatherers were trying to get by rather than to change their world. They tended to believe the world would always be as the gods had made it. They had no sense of social progress or image of humanity's capabilities beyond their abilities. The imagination of those who had a biological potential for genius and those of normal intelligence were limited by their culture. Had it been otherwise, modern society would have appeared much sooner.
Christianity in the 1st century Jewish community in Palestine. Before the end of the 1st century, let inflowed into Syria, even in the Asia Minor and other places. and which extend to Greece and Italy. In the past 4 centuries of Christianity is persecuted until Roman Emperor Constantine issued Edict of Milan announced that is legitimate religion so far. Christianity, a religion based on belief in God and the life and the teaching of Jesus and on the Bible. Persecute, to treat someone unfairly or cruelly over a long period of time because of their race, religion, or practical belief, or to announce someone by refusing to leave them alone. Legitimate, a law by law or reasonable and equitable. $318 after the time of Theodosius the Great declared Christianity as the state religion of the Roman Empire, and everyone has to believe. In 1054, there is a major division of Christianity. The Eastern Orthodox Church claims to be, and the Western Church called Catholic. In the 15th century and from the Protestant spread, as well as many other smaller denominations. A declared faith is one that someone has publicly said or admired. Protestant, a member of the part of the Christian Church which spread from the Roman Catholic Church during the 15th century. Denominations, a religious group which has started for different beliefs from other groups which share the same religion. Christianity is basically a case Old Testament, which is the same case in the New Testament of 2 major components of the Bible. The first human Adam followed Islam in that he directed worship to God alone and none else and abide his commandment. But through the passage of time and the discourse humanity throughout the earth, and people strayed from this message and began directing worship to others instead of or along with God. And some took to worshiping the past who passed away among them, and while others took to worshiping spirits and forces of nature. It was then that God strayed to send messengers to humanity, steering them back to the worship of God alone, which accorded to their true nature and warning them of the great consequence of directing any type of worship to others besides them. This is Islamic worship, and one the direct declaration of faith, the prayer, the compulsory charity, the fast of Ramadan. The fifth pillar is the pilgrimage or Hajj to Mecca. And next, I want to introduce Buddhism. Buddhism came into Taiwan in the later part of the 17th century when the Chinese began to immigrate to this land. From that time, Buddhism has taken many forms. Like for example, the Japanese Buddhism became quite common during the Japanese culture. At a point of time, a number of Buddhism
communities associated themselves with Japanese self-protection. However, despite this, they did not abandon the Chinese Buddhism practice. Vocabulary: Buddhism, a religion that originally comes from India and teaches that personal spiritual improvement will lead to escape from human suffering. Immigrate, to come to live in a different country. With the retreat of Japan, Taiwan saw the coming in of the main landmarks, including some of the most renowned ones of the previous decades, such as Master Ancient. It was during its period that the CBA, or the Chinese Buddhist Association, gained enhanced importance and became a dominant Buddhist organization till the end of the martial law, when the government mandated monopoly drew to its end. Vocabulary: Monk, a member of the group of religious men who do not marry and usually live together in a monastery. Renown, famous for something. Monopoly, an organization or group which has complete control of something, especially an area of business, so that others have no share. Since the 1980s, the number of people recognizing themselves as Buddhists has increased tremendously. Also, a number of large Buddhist organizations are based in and operate from Taiwan throughout the world. Primarily amongst these are Dharma True Mountain, Buddhist Line International, and Sukai Foundation. Today, apart from Chinese Buddhism, other forms of Buddhism have also found recognition in Taiwan. Tibetan Buddhism and the Vipassana movement led by S.M. Goenka is a great example of this.
Okay, let's go to Q&A. First question: what is the composition of the Old Testament and the New Testament?
Anyone know? You know the answer, please raise your hand.
Bible.
You got it.
The second question is which relation to Muslim worship and law? Everybody know it.
要拜哪一边？卖家。他们有分在哪边吗？是卖家的。好可爱。卖。
The question: how about the Buddhist organization?
我以为像没有看过，
吃鸡啊！
他们两个把这里美都的问题。
I think our presentation. Thank you for your listening.